Well, hey everybody, this is Chris DiFirio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Today's episode is brought to you by La Marzocco. They are an espresso machine company that has been serving coffee shop owners and operators for nearly 100 years. Since 1927, they have been making espresso machines by hand in Florence, Italy. And, in this time, La Marzocco has become the cornerstone of equipment in terms of espresso bars for a great reason: beauty, dependability. With machines like the Strata X featuring things like mass-based profiling for your espresso, it can automatically adjust the pressure curve, or you can scale it manually and set beverage weight for fine-tuning profiles. You've got machines like the KB90 with the straight-in locking portafilters and scales built into the drip tray. You also have machines like the Linea Classic and the Linea PB, one of my favorites, that is a classic design with all the technological abilities that give baristas total control over espresso. There are many other types of espresso machines that La Marzocco produces, including the Mod Bar, which is the ultimate in workflow and performance and aesthetics for coffee shops. All you need to do is email info@lamarzocousa.com or check out their website, lamarzocousa.com. Get in contact with them, and one of their salespeople will be glad to talk to you about your coffee shop and what kind of equipment you need to be successful in your cafe. So if you're in the market for an espresso machine, then definitely reach out, lamarzocousa.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Rattleware.com. Now, Rattleware has been around for quite a while, and chances are very good that you have relied on Rattleware more than you actually realize. And that's just how they like it. They are all about building functional, intuitive smallwares for your coffee shop that make a big difference. Kind of the backbone of any cafe are these small pieces like shot glasses and pitchers and whisks and knock boxes and other things, steel and metal and beyond, that just bring everything together. And if you're looking for smallwares that just work, go ahead and visit them and see what they have to offer in the way of smallwares and peace of mind for your cafe. Again, that's over at rattleware.com. Okay, everyone. Well, today we're talking about beyond the metrics. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this today, I think, is because there are a handful of different places you can go to learn about business in the world of coffee. And I say a handful, maybe there's a lot of places actually you can go. And one of the things that you're going to learn there are some basic metrics that you need to be aware of, and maybe the ways that you need to monitor them over the course of the business's life. We're talking about labor cost, cost of goods. It's all of the numbers and percentages that let you know that you are actually a healthy business in the strict sense of the numbers. Now, metrics point to success in other areas. Metrics don't actually create success. They are indicators of something that has happened that has either resonated or not resonated with your customers and with your staff. You're talking about turnover, and labor cost is part of that consideration when you're thinking about metrics that are related to your staff. This is one of those areas where we can kind of get the cart before the horse, where we're chasing the numbers to just force the numbers to look good. And once the numbers look good, we feel as though we've succeeded. There are lots of ways to make numbers look good, but in the process of doing so, we start to get a little too obsessed with the charts and the numbers, and we forget what actually gave us good numbers in the first place. So one of the things that you need to do is look beyond the metrics and figure out not just what's going wrong, but what's going right. So if you see a lot of people wanting to purchase more and more coffee over time, you owe it to yourself to think, well, what is that trend? What is that sales trend in my cafe? And what caused that to happen? What can I do to do more of that? The people are voting with their dollars, and they're letting you know, we really enjoy this particular thing. That's how you can maintain your numbers, but it's also how you can serve your customers well. And if most of your focus is on chasing numbers, but not on the meaning of those numbers, and letting the thing that really motivates you be serving the customer that generates those good metrics for you, then you start to become detached from the reality of the shop. And I think that what you need to do here is look beyond the metrics and say, what are the things that hold this all together? Some parts of what you do in the business are not trackable. You can't really draw a straight line between some of these things and the numbers, but they are nonetheless important. Let's take an example like how we speak to each other when it's stressful in the cafe. Now, that might not come out in the numbers. You might not look at your labor cost and say, oh, looks like our labor cost is up, or we've got a lot of turnover. So it's absolutely this thing. It could be many different causes, but you're never going to know with 100% certainty. And a hyperfixation on the numbers of the business doesn't really leave much room for some of the most important values and virtues of a business that drive those numbers that aren't as easily traceable. So again, your tact in how you lead people and how you talk to people might be one of those things. Maybe it's also how you follow up or follow through or don't do those things that contributes to a lot of customers just feeling like they aren't getting what they signed up for when they came into your cafe because the baristas aren't equipped, they can't answer questions, they're not trained as well as they should be. You're not going to be able to identify that necessarily. And so you're going to be left in the dark and you're going to be forced to either look at these less tangible, but still impactful areas of the social, the cultural, the virtues and values being walked out in the business in a fine, like small level daily, or you're going to focus on gimmicks and urgency to start developing specials and other things to drive numbers up. And what you might also do is start to incentivize baristas. You say, well, we need to motivate them to remember more, to do more, to be more. And so we're going to start doing competitions and see if people can, with a carrot dangled in front of their face, start to perform better when it was really just a lot of little simple virtue value based things that would have satisfied the need of the humans in your business and the performance would have gone through the roof. When we're at the point of desperation of trying to introduce too many specials and to force by incentivization a increase in culture and performance, we know we've missed something far back in the past that is kind of a multivariate thing, but maybe it's because we are not in tune with the stuff that is beyond the metrics. I like to say that you can see an EKG and it'll let you know that you have a heartbeat, but what it cannot do is it can't tell you what the quality of the life you live. And ultimately, that metric will start to look weirder and weirder, even the EKG, if your lifestyle starts to introduce too much stress, for example. You could start ending up with palpitations. Now, that's going to show up on your EKG. But instead of doing a lifestyle change, a lot of people will opt simply for a pill, right? And it could have been solved a different way potentially. And that's not medical advice from me or anything. But the whole point here is that there are more things than just the tangible and projects and campaigns and other things that impact the metrics. And we need to focus on the life of the business. And metrics are a helpful tool, but they're not the point necessarily. You want them to be in line. You want to have a heartbeat, right? You want it to be healthy. But again, it can't tell you the quality of the life you live, but the quality of the life you live certainly will impact that readout in those numbers. So let's pull away from the computer long enough to be able to address the real human needs for values and virtue and character in the workplace and the pursuit together of something that we all want, which is progress. We want satisfaction of a job well done together with other people. And, ostensibly, if you got into coffee, you probably want to serve other people as well. You can get satisfaction from doing that too. And then I think your numbers are just going to turn out better as a result. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. There's a little bit of this glue that holds everything together that deserves our attention. And that is a part of our business that needs to be focused on in order to have a sustainable business that not only falls in line with what we know is a healthy set of metrics, but also falls in line with what we know is a fulfilling life and vocation. So I hope that makes sense to you. Just something I wanted to share. And maybe it hits you a certain way and you'd like to share that. Just go ahead and email chris@keystotheshop.com. If you're interested in Keys to the Shop consulting, which is where I do one-on-one coaching and consultation for coffee shops and coffee shop owners to help you run a thriving, joy-filled, and fulfilling coffee shop for all the people involved, then go ahead and email me again. That is Chris, CHRIS, @keystotheshop.com. And that is it for today's Shift Break. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time to join me. And don't forget to subscribe over on YouTube as well as wherever you listen to podcasts. And I will see you here next week for another edition of Shift Break. From Keys to the Shop.